Welcome to Mr. Benjamin's Math World. Today we are multiplying a polynomial times a monomial, but this time we are dealing with negative exponents. We are multiplying this monomial times this polynomial. This is a polynomial because it has 1, 2, 3 terms, and this polynomial is called a trinomial. And 5a to the negative 4, x to the negative 2. This one is a monomial. It's only one term. So I'm multiplying these two expressions. Again, I'll just bring down the polynomial. Negative 6x plus 5 plus 3x to the negative 8. And now bring down the monomial, negative 5a to the negative 4, x to the negative 2. And again, I'm going to multiply the monomial times each one of the terms of the polynomial. Multiplication, I multiply the coefficients first. Negative times negative is positive. 5 times 6 equals 30, and then a to the negative 4, x to the second times x. Take the x, that's a 2 and a 1. Remember, in multiplication you multiply the coefficients, but you do not multiply the exponents. You add them or subtract them depending on the signs. Take the x, 2, 1, 2 plus 1 equals 3. So x will be 2 the third power, and then I'll just bring down the a to the negative 4 because there's no a's up there. I got my first term, positive 30, x to the third, a to the negative 4. Then I'm going to multiply the monomial times the second term. I multiply the signs first. Negative times positive equals to negative. I multiply the coefficients. 5 times 5 equals 25. And then since 5 has no variables, what I'm going to do is just bring down the same variables. It will be 25a to the negative 4, x to the second power. Multiplying the monomial times the third term. Multiply the signs. Negative times positive equals to negative. Multiply the coefficients. 5 times 3 equals 15. And then multiply a to the negative 4, x to the second times x to the negative 8. I take the x is a 2, and this is x is a negative 8. And now I use the rules of signs in addition and subtraction. The rule says when the numbers have different signs, that's a negative, that's a positive, we subtract the numbers and we copy the sign of the greatest of them. So 2 minus 8 will be x to the negative 6, because 8 minus 2 is 6, and the 8 is the greatest number. It has a negative sign, so it's x to the negative 6. And do not forget also to bring down the a to the negative 4. And this is the result for the multiplication of this monomial times this polynomial. Our second exercise multiplies x to the negative 4 minus 6x to the third plus 8x to the second a minus 7x to the negative 1 plus 5 times negative 3a to the negative 2 x to the negative 3. Again, I'll bring down the polynomial. X to the negative 4 minus 6x to the third plus 8x to the second a minus 7x to the negative 1 plus 5 times negative 3a to the second x to the negative 3. And I'm going to multiply the monomial times each one of the terms in the polynomial. One term, two terms, three terms, four terms, five terms. I'm multiplying, first multiply the signs. Negative times positive equals to negative. Multiply the coefficients. 3 times 1 equals to 3. And then I have x to the negative 4, I have x to the negative 3. Okay. The 3 is a negative. The 4 is also a negative. So I'm going to use the rules of signs in addition and subtraction. And those rules say, when the numbers have the same signs, we add the numbers and we copy the same sign. So this x to the negative 3, x to the negative 4 will be x negative 3, negative 4 is negative 7. And bring down the a to the second. I got my first result of the multiplication, this monomial times the first term. Then I multiply the monomial times the second term. First, multiply the signs again. Negative times negative equals to positive. Multiply the coefficients. 3 times 6 equals to 18. And then multiply the variables. A to the second x to the negative 3 times x to the third. I take the x's. It says negative 3 plus 3. Negative 3 plus 3. The numbers have different signs. That's a negative, that's a positive. So I subtract the numbers and I copy the sign of the greatest. But if the result is 0, because it is, there's no sign. Because we subtract the numbers. When the signs are different, I'll be subtracting 3 minus 3 equals to 0. So x will be to the 0 power. And it must be written. X to the 0 must be written. Bring down then the a to the second power. The monomial times the third term. Multiply the signs. Negative times positive equals to negative. Multiply the coefficients. 3 times 8 equals to 24. A to the second x to the negative 3 times x to the second a. Let me take the x's first. That's a negative 3 and that's a 2. We subtract the numbers and we copy the sign of the greatest. So x will be to the negative 1. And the a, that's a 2. That's a 1. Both are positive. I add the numbers and I copy the same sign. So a to the second times a will be a to the third power. Our next step will be multiply the monomial times term number 4. Multiply the signs first. Negative times negative equals to positive. This continues there, but there's no space, so I'm going to multiply the signs first. Negative times negative equals to positive. 3 times 7 equals to 21. And then I multiply first. I'm going to take x. X is to the negative 3, and this x is to the negative 1. The numbers have the same signs, so I add the numbers and I copy the same sign. Since I add the numbers, 3 plus 1 will be 4, and the x will be to the negative 4. Again, we add the numbers and we copy the same negative sign. So x is to the negative 4, and do not forget to bring down the a to the second power. Our last step will be multiply the monomial times the monomial, this monomial times the term, number 5. Multiply the signs, negative times positive equals to negative. And multiply the coefficients. 3 times 5 equals to 15. And then 5 has no variable, so what I have to do is just bring down the variables the way they are. So this is 15a to the second x to the negative 3. So the result of the multiplication of this monomial times the polynomial is negative 3x to the negative 7a to the second plus 18x to the 0a to the second minus 24x to the negative 1a to the third plus 21x to the negative 4a to the second minus 15a to the second x to the negative 3. And that's the way you multiply a monomial times a polynomial when involving negative exponents. And if you think this was a useful video, feel free to subscribe and activate the bell in order to receive further notifications. Also, if you have a specific topic of your interest, just write it down in a comment. See you next time.